Hey, welcome back everyone. Jason here from Guts Pose. In this video, you're going to be seeing myself rallying with Todd, aka Big Boy Tennis. If you guys haven't checked out his page yet, please do so and consider subscribing to his channel as well and give him a shout out and support. He's a great guy, obviously a very talented and experienced tennis player as well. In this simple showcase video, it's just rallying down the middle, which seems very bland, but there's a couple things that I want to share with you guys that are quite important that I want you guys to try to do. Obviously both of us aren't moving very fast or well. Sadly and unfortunately, both of us are injured. Todd has a growing injury, myself the knees, and I tore my calf muscle, so we're not able to really maneuver our lower body that well. But what I'm trying to do as we do these rallies is I'm really trying to focus on cleaning up my swings and strokes, because I desperately needed to clean up my swings. I think a lot of times we tend to play just too many sets. I think a lot of us rec players, more so, the adult rec players, we just end up, just warming up for 5-10 minutes with our friends and jumping on the court and just playing a set or a couple sets, and that's it, right? Some of us do drills and whatnot, which is also helpful, but I think we really have to spend some time and focus in cleaning up our strokes and fundamentals, at least every once in a while. It's almost like getting an oil change, right, in your car, just like a basic tune-up. I think if we go for too long without really maintaining and really cleaning up our strokes, our swings, we're gonna end up forming bad habits after a long period of time. And we all don't want that. We all don't want that to carry on into the match, right? So as simple and as boring as this exercise might seem, I think it's quite important that we all remember to do this every once in a while. And then obviously it'll help if you have a friend or a partner that is consistent as well and patient, that are willing to do this with you. And Todd is amazing. I mean, I think you'll see we have some good rallies. We're able to sustain the rallies back and forth pretty well. Obviously this requires control. We're hitting down the middle to each other, and I too often I see too many people hitting way too hard, a lot harder than they really should be hitting, and they kind of forget the importance of consistency, accuracy, control, and what I mentioned before, the simplifying and making your techniques clean. Okay, and you're not really going to be able to do this when and if you're playing just sets. Okay, so, and even in the drills, and if you go to clinics and stuff, it's quite hard because you're not able to hit too many repetitive shots, right? So make it a habit to do this. Find a partner that's willing to work on it as much as you are, and really decide to clean up the strokes. Okay, just work on stuff that really, if you're maybe getting the ball too close to your body, just remind yourself, okay, let me just be a little bit further away from the body. Let me wait for the ball to get a little bit, not too far ahead on contact. You can play with a little bit of timing, just clean everything up. So you're just almost like fine tuning, right? And again, I just kind of compare this to, like a car, because you need to fine tune your car, or at least, get a basic tune up every once in a while, just to make sure everything is maintained and running properly, right? Otherwise, you're just going to carry on, and you're not going to know what's really bringing your game down if you're not paying attention to these simple technical exercises every once in a while. So I just want to do that. Again, you can see here, obviously Todd has, he is capable of hitting a traditional backhand. I think he does, but he does have that unique 2-4 hands, which I don't know. I'd love to hear from you guys that how you guys feel about it. Whether it's effective, whether it's not. I personally think it's quite unique. I actually tried it myself when I got injured one time, when my wrist and shoulder got so bad on my right hand. I switched to the lefty maybe for like 3 to 6 months, and I got quite decent at it. And I tried the whole two forehand thing as well, but maybe not long enough. I just felt changing the grip, especially when you get to a certain level, when the ball's coming at you quite fast, you're not really going to be able to make that adjustment, especially if you didn't learn this technique from the start, right? I would say if someone is learning from the start, if you're a beginner and you're just learning how to play tennis, I think it could be quite interesting and quite effective to learn two forehands. And if you decide to commit to it, that could definitely become a strength to you, okay? Because obviously forehands are most people's strengths, right? So why not have two weapons? But it's quite hard, and I think it's got its challenges to overcome. But I think it's possible with enough practice, especially if you are more on the beginner side and you're learning how to play at first. Okay, but if you've been playing for a while and you learn kind of traditionally, it might be a little difficult to make that transition, especially if you're moving up in the level that's a little bit harder and faster, and the ball's coming at you with more pace. You're not going to be able to make that adjustment change as much. That's what I think. I certainly think it's still possible, but it's quite unique. It's pretty cool to watch. But anyway, yeah, the footwork for us isn't great, but what I'm, again, going back on topic about this video, I'm really working on cleaning up my swings. And I think a lot of people, again, go about just playing sloppy, right? I mean, a lot of times they get lazy, they get in this habit where they just end up kind of hacking at their strokes and swings so long that it kind of becomes how they hit and how they play. And you really don't want that. And again, I'm repeating myself, but I'm stressing to you that you really want to practice good habits, okay? And it's obviously starts in practice. You can't do this automatically in a match, right? And you can't really do that even in practice if you're all you're playing are sets and you're taking clinics and whatnot. You got to get out there, hit repetitive shots consistently, accurately. Start at a pace where it's slow enough where you feel comfortable and confident that you really could feel the ball, you're feeling the contact, you're really able to understand what you're doing with the swings, whether it's getting you in the better path or not, right? So if you're doing this at a pace where it's a little too fast, a little too hard, again, I think most people are hitting way harder than they're actually capable of or that they should be hitting at. So I would recommend slowing down your pace a little bit, getting more consistent and accurate first. I think these are way more important fundamentally than power, pace, anything that looks fancy spin slices, whatnot. Really get your consistency, accuracy, control down first. So in my opinion, this is the better way to develop your game. You need to understand the importance of consistency, accuracy, control, patience. Okay, all these qualities are probably the biggest fundamental lessons you need to learn as a tennis player, right? Tennis is a game of percentage. How many times have you guys heard that? If you guys haven't heard that, that is the underlining common denominator that we really need to understand, right? How many times have you played a match and you lost due to lack of consistency, unforced errors, right? Or you just self-destructing, right? How many times? I'm gonna care to guess almost every single match you've played, you probably lost because of those things, right? So again, understanding the need to develop correct technique, clean your swings up, clean your techniques up, so you're developing correctly, right? Instead of just going out there with your buddies and with your friends and, you know, just hitting and just jumping in and playing sets and whatnot. Of course, it's great, and you need to play sets and matches, which I'll get to in a second. But if that's all you're doing, you're really not going to be able to develop the correct consistency that we all need, right, to develop correctly. Sure, you can kind of hack your way into a match and learn how to win that way, but again, you're going to be limited, and I want you guys to develop and become the best tennis players you can be. So next time you're practicing, don't forget, you know, the importance of, you know, just cleaning your swings up, you know, slowing things down a little bit so you can kind of get more consistent and more accurate and more control. Okay, do that. Find a partner, find a friend, you know, coach, whatever, that'll work on that with you at least every once in a while. Don't forget this. This is quite simple, but very important. Okay, again, as I mentioned earlier, I was going to get to the match play scenarios, right? On the flip side, you don't want to become a professional rally player, right? I mean, I think, sadly, I think I've become quite good at rallying, just rallying, because I've gotten to a point where that's all I do because of my limited movement. I'm not able to run around and place as many matches. Therefore, I'm just hitting all the time, and I've become quite accurate and quite consistent that way. But once match starts, guys, it becomes a whole different ballgame, right? You have this enigma, this unknown of, you know, you don't know how and where and when your opponent's going to hit what, and the whole movement aspect of it is huge, right? So you don't want to get to a point where you're just used to just standing in place hitting, and, you know, when you start playing a match and you got to take a, you know, run around, then like your entire ability just goes out the window. You don't want to do that. So you want to have both. You want to play your matches, but you want to apply those clean, correct techniques, transfer that into a match, right? So remember, both of these things are quite important. So I want you guys to practice doing that, correct, clean techniques, but also carry that into a match, right? So don't forget to do both. Again, thanks so much for tuning in. Hopefully you took some lessons out of it. And until the next video, God's suppose, peace out.